Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Sahil and I welcome you all to the today's Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. Today is 6th of September and we are going to take up entire analysis. First of all guys, confirm is the video clear and most importantly audio, is it clear or not? Please confirm me that particular thing. And moving on to the newspaper discussion. So guys, I would also like to tell you that you can download explainer notes of this particular session from the Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Now, here we have Delhi edition. First of all, let's see overview of newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So here on first page we have Supreme Court bench reserves verdict in Article 370 abrogation challenge. So this particular issue is going on in Supreme Court from so many of days. So here now Supreme Court has reserved its verdict, and when it will come, we'll take that particular thing. After that, Bharat replaces India in G20 invite from president. So basically guys, what has happened for G20 summit, presidential invite has been sent, and in that presidential invite, rather than the word president of India, the word president of Bharat has been used. Now many political parties are saying that they have used this particular word because they are saying that they have used this particular word because the alliance of opposition party, it is known as India. So all these things are coming out. However, no need to go and see this particular issue in too much of detail. Then further moving on, after that we have these advertisements, city section, restriction in just a small area, don't listen to rumors. So this is with respect to the G20 restrictions. Nothing much important has been given here. These advertisements and all such kind of things are there. Moving on guys, in this particular direction, Mayawati has to decide which side of history, nothing important, just the political statements etc. have been given here. Then guys, further moving on in this particular direction, Kerala High Court seeks to explore carrying capacity of hill stations. Okay, so guys, on carrying capacity there is also one more article that has been there. We'll take that particular thing also. Then further moving on in this particular direction guys, we will be reaching to editorial section, and in editorial first article, the case for elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, guys, recently what has happened? Many of the political parties, they have raised this particular thing that elections in Jammu and Kashmir should be conducted. Assembly elections should be conducted as soon as possible. But as of now, there is no indication that when assembly elections will be conducted in Jammu and Kashmir. So this article is talking about that why elections are not being conducted. Okay, in that particular capacity, it has been provided. Political viewpoints are being given, and I have read this entire article. Substance for exam is not there. I will not advise you to go that much in detail. Then time to decide. Now this is an important article. This article is talking about that we need to assess carrying capacity of hill stations. We'll take this particular article for exam. Then going down, the implication of the expansion of BRICS, we'll take this particular article for exam. Here we have this article where we can see that the coups had increased in Africa. We'll take this particular article also. Then moving on to next page, decoding the Nyaya Samhita bill. Okay, guys, very important thing. Recently, government has introduced three bills in the parliament, which will replace Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, and Indian Evidence Act. Now, these particular bills have been referred to select committee. It will prepare its report, and after that particular report, their bill will be brought in parliament, then debate, discussion, amendments will be carried, and then finally bill will be passed. Now every other day there will be articles which will be analyzing specific provisions of Nyaya Samhita bill. Now, are you required to follow that every day? No. Why? Because guys, by the time you will be writing the exam, there will be a lot of more developments that will happen on this particular bill. Moreover, every specific provision of the bill is not important. Then every important bill is not important. Okay. Then moving on to the next article. This was no unexpected feat for India's 4 into 400 relay team. Much important thing is not there in this article. Then moving on to the next, text and context. Text and context. Laws governing forest of the northeast. So we'll take this particular article. Then below there is this article talking about the various strategies of vaccine diplomacy. This particular article also we are going to take up for examination. Then further moving on, after that on next page, what is the agenda for special session? India parties ask government. Just political statements etc. are there. Nothing much important has been given. Xi Jinping skipping G20 summit, a deliberate signal to India West. So guys, recently there were reports that Mr. Xi Jinping might not be coming to G20. Now it has got confirmed that he will not be attending. So it might be because of the frosty relations that are there between West and China between China and India also. So this is something that has been there. However, moving on, no need to go and track this particular issue and take down some notes out of that. Okay, moving on, guys, in this particular direction. Okay, no volume, sir. Dear, please check your side. Fine. Then moving on, India and Bharat interchangeable can be used in official invite. Okay, so this is because recently that invite has been sent. Then further moving on in this particular direction, in second action by ISTRAC, Aditya L1 enters new orbit. Okay, so ISTRAC, it stands for ISRO Telemetry Tracking and Command Network. Okay, so we have seen, guys, I think 8-10 articles we have taken up in this particular direction. Okay, now guys, as we talk about this particular development, see, Aditya L1 mission has been launched. Now this Aditya L1 mission, this particular mission is specifically to study sun. Okay, and it will be studying photos, the corona chromosphere of sun, also solar flares. Okay, coronal mass ejaculation, all these things will be seen. Yesterday also we have taken up a detailed article in that. Now one thing you need to understand, that every development that now orbital change has happened, all these things are not needed to track too much in detail. Then further moving on in this particular direction, after that moving on to world page, North Korea's Kim may meet with Putin in Russia. Myanmar won't be allowed to lead ASEAN in 2026. Okay. Then further here we have one article, finance minister flags the threats to financial system from crypto tax havens. Okay, we'll take this particular article. Then guys, we have the sports page. Okay, so this is about overview of newspaper. Now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in detail. Okay guys, tell me, is voice now clear? Okay guys, please tell me, is voice clear now, clear to everyone? Please tell this particular thing, that is voice now clear. Okay. Guys, one more thing is that please use earphones also, because don't expect that there is loud traffic, the fan, it is basically if there are external noises that are there, okay, that might also give you a feeling that voice is low from this particular end. But that is not the issue. We have taken care from all the things, and even after the video is streamed, I also see that in mobile phone the voice seems pretty clear. Okay, so please check from your end also. Okay, moving on, moving on. Now, so guys, this is a synoptic notes that you can download from the Telegram channel, and in these synoptic notes, we take a GS quotation which can be used to complement our GS answers, as well as also it can be used for your essays. So today we are going to take the quotation: to deny people their human right is to deny their very humanity. To deny people their human right is to deny their very humanity. Now, guys, when we talk about voice is clear, voice is okay. So fine. I hope that voice is clear now. I hope that voice is clear now. Fine. Yes. So to deny people their human right is to deny their very humanity. Now, when we talk about humans, humans have been born with natural rights, human rights, and these human rights cannot be denied on any pretext. Every nation, through fundamental rights, have to secure these human rights to everyone. If these human rights are denied or not given, then entire human existence is denied. You can use this particular quotation in GS paper number 4. You can use this particular quotation in GS paper number 4 ethics, and this particular quotation is given by Nelson Mandela. Now, taking up the first article for today, the various strategies of vaccine diplomacy. The various strategies of vaccine diplomacy, a very good article. And this particular article, first of all, guys, where you can use this article can be used in. Now, where this particular article can be used? This particular article can be used in GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. Vaccine diplomacy of India, as well as in GS paper number 4, ethics in international relation, there also this particular article can be used. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about India's efforts to provide vaccine to the countries which didn't had vaccine, it is a moral, ethical action that has been taken by India. Now, let's take this particular article. First of all, guys, let me tell you what are the basic things here. So basically, recently a research paper has been published. And this research paper is titled as explaining. Political economy of vaccine diplomacy, explaining various strategy of China, India, and Russia's COVID-19 vaccine diplomacy. This research paper. Now understand one particular thing. You are not required to remember the name of authors of this research paper. You are not required to remember that where this research paper was published and all such kind of things. However, what has happened, they have seen what was the strategy of Russia, India, and China with respect to vaccine diplomacy. So we are going to take all these particular things here. Now, first of all, before going in this particular article, there are few basic things that you need to understand first. And after that particular thing, we are going in the details of this particular article. Now, first of all, guys, as we talk about in the past, Western countries, developed countries have been the major leaders which have provided vaccine in times of crisis. And when we talk about this particular development, earlier during Cold War times, Soviet Union and USA were major leaders and were responsible for providing vaccine. And here we have example of smallpox and polio. So during smallpox and polio, large number of vaccines were provided by US and Soviet Union. Now, as we talk about COVID-19 pandemic that broke out in 2020, during COVID-19 pandemic, 3 countries become major leaders in vaccine diplomacy. And all these 3 countries are non-Western powers. That is Russia, China, and India. They dominated international attempts for providing vaccine. Also, they have their particular powers. They complemented on that and provided vaccine to many of countries. Now, what are particular special points of these 3 countries? For example, Russia, it has a prowess in research and development, vaccine development. India has a specialization in manufacturing vaccine. In fact, before the pandemic, 60% of world's vaccine were being manufactured by India. And Serum Institute of India is one of the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world. So India has a manufacturing potential, and China has good potential in logistics, in supply chain. So 3 countries came together, and by that they have been major powers in vaccine diplomacy during the times of pandemic COVID. Okay, now let's understand every country's strategy one by one. So one by one, let's understand that how they have played very important role. First of all, we are going to analyze Russia's role. Now, when we talk about Russia, Russia had strong vaccine R&D, but Russia has a weak production capability. Moreover, Russia also have a weak distribution channel. Moreover, guys, if you talk about Russia, then because of rivalry going on between Russia and West, now at that point of a time, war was not going on between Russia and Ukraine. It got started later, but Western rivalry was already going on. So therefore, Russian vaccines, they did not had acceptability distribution channel was not there, and production was also not there. So what happened? Russia did R&D and provided that particular R&D technology to other countries such as India. It outsourced its production. Russia invented Sputnik vaccine. It invented Sputnik vaccine. Now, for a country such as Russia, it makes a sense also to do the technology transfer. How it can help? The countries which have low global credibility. For example, Russia had low global credibility. So it did technology transfer to India. India developed a vaccine. And secondly, when we talk about Russia, domestic production capacity of Russia is also very much less. And by this technology transfer, Russia also enhanced the soft power, that Russia is a country which did R&D, and by Russian drug, people are getting protected by COVID-19. So this particular thing also improved soft power of Russia, global image of Russia. Then, when we talk about India's role in this particular capacity, how India has played an important role. So basically, I told you India has huge manufacturing capacity, and even before the COVID, India was manufacturing large number of drugs. India was manufacturing large number of drugs. So basically, when we talk about India, around 60% of world's vaccines, they are produced by India, particularly SII, that is Serum Institute. That is Serum Institute. Okay, Serum Institute. Now, what happened? India got Covishield. India got Covishield. So basically, guys, Oxford, AstraZeneca, they provided technology to India for manufacturing Covishield. And actually, Covishield was developed by Serum Institute of India, and they started exporting vaccines to different countries, to more than 70 countries. To more than 70 countries, they have exported vaccines. And this attempt was called as Vaccine Maitri, Vaccine Friendship of India. Now, when we talk about India, what was India's priority with respect to providing vaccine? So, India's priority was to first provide vaccine to neighboring countries, because India already is running neighborhood first. And second was to provide vaccine to Caribbean as well as African states. Now, when we talk about Caribbean and African states, these are the places which have large large sizable population of Indian diaspora. So India's national interest as well as India's attempt to show compassion, both were complemented. And in line with the neighborhood first policy, neighborhoods were the one where large number of vaccines were given. Now, one more thing I want to specifically add on here, one more thing I want to specifically add on here, that when India was exporting vaccine, India's financial constraints were also there, which became a very important factor. So India has balanced. Some amount of vaccines India had given in terms of payment, and some vaccines it has given as a matter of grant, Okay, and geopolitical interest played a very important role in determining that how many vaccines it will donate and how many vaccine it will sell. So where India has a huge geopolitical weightage, there India has given vaccines free, but other places India has given this particular vaccine as a they have given these particular vaccine as a commercial exchange. Now, then further, when we talk about, guys, when we talk about India, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about India, initially Indian government did not support it too much to Serum Institute as well as Bharat Biotech, which were majorly manufacturing vaccines. But laterwards, when second wave of COVID came in 2021, India supported and gave $600 million to vaccine manufacturer, that is Bharat Biotech as well as Serum Institute. Now, in this particular capacity, when we talk about China and Russia, particularly China, from the very start has provided a lot of financial support to their vaccine manufacturer, but India did not did that particular thing in start. However, if India would have also focused on providing grants to their vaccine manufacturers, then that particular thing could have further enhanced India's effort in vaccine diplomacy. Now, further moving on, how China played an important role. So guys, when we talk about China's role in this particular direction, so basically China also took up vaccine diplomacy, and China's vaccine diplomacy was costliest. Large amount of money, tremendous investment was done in vaccine development and then vaccine manufacturing. And China largely preferred particular countries for their vaccine for their vaccine transfers, and particularly their focus was on Africa, ASEAN countries, and those countries where belt and those countries which are the member under Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. So this is specific area where China focused. Now there is a special case study of Brazil also. There is a special case study of Brazil also. Now when we talk about Brazil, when vaccines were needed to Brazil, all three countries, China, Russia, and India, came together. How it came together? For example, Russia received a large order from Brazil with respect to vaccine. But you know this thing, I also told you this thing, Russia did not have huge production capacity. So what Russia did, Russia outsourced that particular production to China and India. And China and India both manufactured vaccines and provided those vaccines to Brazil. Particularly China carried clinical trials in Brazil to check that whether vaccines that will be provided to Brazil, will it be suitable or not. So China, what it did, it carried clinical trials in Brazil, and Russia, it supplied API. What is API? API is active pharmaceutical ingredients. Now understand this thing, that whenever we talk about any vaccine, any vaccines, any vaccine that particular any vaccine that you talk about it, the foundational salt that is used in vaccine, which will be making up large volume for vaccine, that is, or any medicine, it is called as API, active pharmaceutical ingredient. It is a basic salt that is needed. So this API was provided by Russia, order was received by Russia, actual manufacturing was done by India and China, and they provided vaccines to Brazil. So this is one example. This is one example that how three countries collaborated, and this is also one example that how now slowly, one by one, a large number of things in which West was a leader, now East is becoming leader, and particularly Russia, China, India, these countries are becoming a leader. So that is all about this particular article. Okay. Now moving on to next article. Now moving on to next article. Okay. So time to decide. Now this particular article we are going to take up, this particular article we are going to take up with respect to GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, economy or infrastructure, economy or infrastructure versus ecology, versus ecology. Okay. And this particular article also we can take with respect to sustainable development, sustainable development. So basically, guys, you have seen this particular thing in news recently, that what happened, there is huge development that has been carried in Himalayan states, particularly Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. There are road widening projects, hydropower projects that have been taken up, a lot of development in terms of resorts, hotels, etc., that has been carried in Himachal and Uttarakhand. And these regions, they have fragile ecology. It was not able to support such rampant construction and development that has happened. And now we are seeing results of that particular thing. Recently, there were extreme climatic catastrophes that happened in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Last year, we have seen that town of Joshimath in Uttarakhand, it was sinking. Fine. Now, government as well as judiciary has started to assess that whether these particular patterns of development that we have taken up in Himachal and Uttarakhand, are they sustainable or not. So basically, what has happened? What has happened recently? Chief Justice of India, it has suggested that an expert committee, it has suggested that an expert committee should be constituted, which will do complete and comprehensive study on carrying capacity, of Himalayan region. Now, what is this carrying capacity? Carrying capacity is a concept that is derived from population biology. Now understand this thing, that every particular place has a limited capacity to accommodate any particular species. If more members of that species will come at that particular place, what will happen? Natural checks, natural elimination will be done by nature. For example, what will happen if large number of herbivore species increases in a grassland? What will happen? They will eat all grasses, and then some of them will starve, some of them will die. Automatically their population will go down. So Himalayan region also can carry maximum number of people. Beyond that, what will happen? These extreme events will happen and the population will be wiped out. This is the way nature works. So the Supreme Court has directed that a committee needed to be constituted which will see what is carrying capacity of Himalayan region, and on that particular basis further developmental steps are to be taken up. Okay, now this is very much important that rising population, infrastructural needs, infrastructure development, it is needed to be balanced against precarious geography, very fragile geography of this particular region. Now you might already be knowing about devastating floods that came in Uttarakhand in 2013, and in 2013 also there were these recommendations that were given that we needed to assess carrying capacity of Uttarakhand. We need to assess whether hydropower projects that have been taken up in Uttarakhand, they are sustainable in long run or not. And after that particular thing, what happened, there was some restriction that was imposed on hydropower project, fine, but what happened, hydropower projects development came down, but road widening projects such as the Char Dham project, they were taken up continuously. Now there is a need not to assess just hydropower but also the road widening projects that are going on there. And already because of this particular rampant development, we have seen this particular thing that the town of Joshimath in Uttarakhand is sinking. This classically shows that how unplanned infrastructure development is going to have an impact on infrastructure. Now, moving on guys in this particular direction, states need to understand two things. States need to understand two things, that business as usual approach will not go. Business as usual approach will not go. If they will do business as usual, same catastrophes will happen as they have happened in past. What is to be done? They need to understand that how sustainable development can be carried. Either they do construction the same way and take on the impacts, or it should go for sustainable development which will increase the cost but impact will be minimized. So this is something that is needed to be seen. Okay, then moving on to the next article. Coup in Gabon. Okay guys, just let me see on YouTube and let me check the voice issue if it is there. Okay, guys, I am see, see, I am I am seeing right now the voice is very clearly it's coming, as well as it's also clear and also it is loud and clear. Please check from your side. Just give me 1 minute for that. Okay, guys, please use earphones because I have checked it even in mobile phone. I have checked it and the voice is going clear? Okay, please try to manage it. Next class will try to do something. Okay, and commenting incessantly is not going to help in any way. Okay, and even I have also right now checked in that. Okay, so just you, if I Institute, okay, Serum Institute. Now, what happened? India got, this is something which I am getting from Mumbai. Okay, but I will check it. I will check it. Don't worry. Next, before the next class, we will rectify that particular thing also. I'll try that we should increase voice to such a level that it should blow the ears. We'll try that thing. Apologies for the today's class, but next class definitely I will do that particular thing. My heartfelt apologies for that thing if you are facing any issue. Okay, moving on to the next article. So here we have this particular article, coup in Gabon. Now, this particular article is talking about recent incidents where multiple coups have happened in African region. Now, first of all, guys, if we see here, this is the map of Africa. Multiple countries have seen military where they have tried to take power. For example, this is now here you see that in Gabon, recently latest coup has been carried. Before that, there was this Guinea in which coup happened in September 2021. Then here we see that after that in Mali, there was coup that happened in August 2020. Then after that, there was a successful coup that was carried in Niger in July 2023. Then there was coup that happened in Sudan in 2021. Now, what is a coup? Coup is when military takes over power or when forcefully government is displaced and a new government comes. That is coup. So, in all these particular countries in Africa, you see that recent coups or attempted coups have happened. All this particular thing indicates that instability has increased and instability is coming in African region. Now, when we talk about these coups that have increased, when we talk about these coups that have increased, so understand this particular thing that as we talking about the coups that are increasing. Okay, just let me do something. We can. Okay, guys. So just tell me that has voice increased or has voice decreased now? Okay, please tell me, has the voice increased or has it decreased now? Please tell me. Okay, guys, please be here for today. By next class, we'll do that. Okay. Now, when we talk about coups, so you see this thing that in many countries such as Sudan, Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, above map also I have shown you this particular thing that the coups have been taken up. And the latest coup that has now have happened, it is in Gabon. Now, when we talk about the countries where the coup happened, all these particular countries were actually affected by the Islamist militancy problems. Law and order situation was very much problematic. After that, also there was economic crisis that was going on in these particular countries. And in that, military came and it took power. Now, when we talk about Gabon, what has happened in Gabon? Republican Guard. Now, Republican Guard is that particular unit of armed force which is responsible for protecting the president. So, Republican Guard has taken over the power in Gabon. Now, when we talk about who was the ruler in Gabon before this coup happened, so therefore, Mr. Ali Bongo. Now, recently, what has happened? There were elections that were conducted in Gabon, and in these particular elections, it was said that elections are not free and fair. So Ali Bongo won the election, but it was disputed. His victory was disputed. Now, when we talk about Ali Bongo, who is Ali Bongo? He is ruling in Gabon since 2019, and before Ali Bongo, his father Omar Bongo was ruler, and he has ruled Gabon for 42 years. So 42 years his father ruled, and since 2009 he is ruling. So more than 50 years Congo family has ruled Gabon, and now this particular family has been displaced and Republican Guard has taken over power in Gabon. Now when we talk about Gabon, Gabon is a country which is economically prosperous. When we talk about Africa, when we talk about Gabon, Gabon is a country which has huge mineral wealth, huge mineral wealth. Okay, it has highest per capita income. It has highest per capita income, but at the same time 2.4 million people they live in poverty. 40% of people between age of 15 to 24 they are unemployed, and after the pandemic the conditions have actually become more problematic for Gabon. And in this particular line, in this particular background, the military came. And now guys, understand this thing: when we talk about African coups, why they have increased, largely it is because of the fact that economic crises are already going on. Military comes and it promises that we will give you a better future, and therefore people also support it. And recently what has happened, particularly when we talk about Ali Bongo, his regime also came under a lot of opposition, because I told you that it was said that elections were not free and fair. Economic equity people needed, and people already had this resentment. Now as these coups are coming, we can find that there are two major trends in Africa that are visible. Now, first major trend that we see here is that there are new generation generals which are ready to take risk and are ready to capture the power. They are coming over, and at the same time also we see this particular thing, that there is a geopolitical angle that is also there. Now, what type of a geopolitical angle? So in map that we have seen above, most of the countries where the coup has happened, these were former French colonies. And right now you see this particular thing, that in world there is an ideological division that has been carried. On one hand, on one end there is, on one end there is West, and France is also the part of Western bloc. On another hand there is Russia and China. Now what has happened, wherever these coups have happened, for example, you see that the coup happened in Mali, Burkina Faso, and here after this coup, Russia have expanded their reach. Recently, the Gabon coup has happened. Now, in Gabon, now this Gabon has replaced France, and here now China is getting more dominance. China will get more dominance. So it also indicates that whether Russia and China are behind this particular thing, are they one which are supporting these particular developments? So that is something that's needed to be seen. Okay. That is about it. The next article, Center signs MOU with Adobe to train children in classroom. So basically guys, when we talk about, now this article we'll see with respect to the education GS paper number 2. Now, one particular thing, see this, that as we talk about education, recently 2020 National Education Policy 2020 got passed. And as per this National Education Policy 2020, new age skills, technical skills, 21st century relevant skills are to be provided as a part of education. And in this capacity, what has happened, Adobe and government has signed an agreement, and as per this particular agreement, Adobe will be providing free Adobe Express application to school students. Teachers will be trained so that a teacher can help students to learn these Adobe Express. And by this particular thing, what will happen, educators and students, they will be able to foster creativity. They can learn how to work on a generative artificial intelligence. Chat GPT is a generative artificial intelligence, design, video, animation, and other emerging technologies. So through Adobe Express, all these particular areas, children as well as educators will be trained, and it is an attempt to upskill. It is an attempt to provide 21st century skills to students as in line with NEP. Okay, and by 2027, okay, so the training and certification will also be given. 20 million students and 5 lakh teachers will be trained by 2027 using this Adobe Express. So these are the things. Now understand this particular thing, that a direct question might not come here. The direct question might not come here in this particular direction, but these examples can be used to substantiate that what has been done as a part of NEP, how government is providing the new age technical skills and all such kind of things. Okay. Then moving on to next article, law governing forest of the Northeast. Now, guys, I will not advise you to go too much in detail in this particular article. Now, what the article is talking about, article is giving you PhD level content that on this date, this law was passed, then that law was was made applicable by this notification on that date, on that year. We are not required to go on that particular detail. This article is largely talking about the environmental issues that are going on in Northeast. Now, when we talk about environmental issues going on in Northeast, recently, what actually has happened, first of all, let me tell you context, and after that, we'll go in this article. So recently, Mizoram Assembly, they have unanimously passed a resolution opposing the Forest Conservation Amendment Act 2023, and Nagaland is also planning to bring a resolution opposing the Forest Conservation Amendment Act. Now, why they are opposing it? Because as per this Forest Conservation Amendment Act of 2023, government have provided that they can take up road project, railway project, strategic other projects which are important for national importance within the 100 km of India's international border. Now, if you see Northeast, large chunk of Northeast comes within 100 km of international border, and there any project can be taken up. And for that, approval, forest clearance under the Forest Conservation Act 1980 will not be needed. So means without the forest clearance, any developmental project can be taken up. This is something that is provided by Forest Amendment Act 2023. Okay, this is something that have been provided. Now, it will lead to a lot of displacement of tribal people. It will lead to a displacement of a lot of forest dwellers, and large number of tribal and forest dwellers live in Northeast. At the same time, if we talk about northeastern states, they have also been given special status. For example, there is Article 371A for Nagaland, Article 371G for Mizoram. And these special provisions provide this particular thing, that any law enacted by Parliament, and if it impact Naga and Mizo customary law, then that particular law's application could be restricted. So therefore, Mizoram and Nagaland are coming out with these resolutions. They are not happy with this particular law. Now, in past, when we talk about, for example, in 1996, Supreme Court has given one very important judgment, that is Godvarman case. Godvarman case. Now, what is this Godvarman case? Supreme Court provided that we need to protect forest, and only notified forests are not to be protected. Along with the notified forest, we need to protect a notified forest. Along with that, the forest which comes under the dictionary meaning of forest. Dictionary meaning of forest means wherever there are huge canopy, large number of trees, it comes under dictionary meaning of forest. Notified forest, forest which comes under dictionary meaning of forest, as well as those forests which are unclassified forest. Those forests in which private ownership is there. The forests which are owned by clans, individuals, village councils, communities, they will also to be protected. So a lot of protection was given to the forest, but now all these particular things have been taken back. Moreover, guys, when we talk about forest, in forest, tribal areas, lands are also to be protected. And for that, there was the Forest Right Act. Even now, when the land will be diverted for developmental project, those tribal rights will also be getting impacted. So therefore, states are not happy in this particular direction, and they are coming out with these particular laws. Okay. Then moving on, the implication of the expansion of BRICS. The implication of the expansion of BRICS. Now, so guys, recently we have taken up this development already, that BRICS summit happened. The BRICS is a grouping of 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And recently, this recent BRICS summit that was held in Johannesburg, BRICS members, they have expanded the membership of BRICS, and they have included 6 new members within BRICS. And these 6 new members are Iran, Saudi Arabia and UAE from West Asia, Egypt and Ethiopia from Africa, and Argentina from Latin America. And when we talk about this expansion, now after this particular expansion, BRICS dominance will even more increase. Now guys, when we talk about BRICS, in BRICS, India, China and Russia, from a very long time, they are saying this particular thing, that the Western multilateral order, Western global groupings that are there, these orders, these groupings are needed to be replaced with more inclusive order. Now, when we talk about BRICS, BRICS in past has come out with 2 major institutions, that is New Developmental Bank, which is providing the developmental assistance to the developing countries. And in a way, it is trying to become an alternative of World Bank. And then contingency reserve arrangement. It is providing support to the countries which are facing BOP crisis, balance of payment crisis, when you don't have money to pay for your imports. And here, by this, CRA is trying to become an alternative of IMF. So Western institutions are their replacement is being provided by the BRICS member countries. Now, when we talk about what has happened recently, the UN secretary described the existing institutions such as World Bank, IMF as yesterday's world. Western world is being called as yesterday's world. Okay, and now here the BRICS is coming with an alternative arrangement. Now, under this BRICS, there was Johannesburg Declaration that was taken up, and which talks about that all these 11 countries now, through strategic partnership, they will try to create a more fair and representative world. And when we talk about now, after the expansion, BRICS economic geopolitical clout has also increased. How? See, today when we talk about BRICS, BRICS now will have 46% of world population. Fine. Then it will have 37% of global GDP. G7 in comparison has just 30.7% of global GDP, but BRICS will now have 37% of global GDP. Then when we talk about global oil production, 42% of global oil production will come from these 11 BRICS countries. So it has become such a dominant organization. And when we talk about this new BRICS, members already they are very much aligned and intertwined with each other. For example, when we talk about the BRICS, Saudi oil production, Saudi Arabia is providing a lot of oil to China, India. Russia is major supplier of oil to China, India. Within these 11 countries, a lot of trade on oil, a lot of trade on other strategic commodities is already going on. So by this, the BRICS will be complementing all these particular efforts. Okay. And then we have this particular article, Finance Minister flags a threat to financial system from crypto tax haven. Now guys, basically what has happened, Finance Minister has just given this particular indication. Now this table is more than sufficient. So Finance Minister has provided this particular thing that we need to come together. Collaborative efforts are needed to counter a large number of financial threats, etc. that are emerging. So the drug mafias, tax havens, okay, all these particular things are creating a pressure, challenge to global finances institutions. Okay, so we need to come together. We need to protect financial ecosystems. We need to protect digital data. We need to tame the uncontrolled transfers of finances that are happening. Okay, just you can read this, nothing explanation aspect is given, just the statement has been made by the finance minister. Okay, then moving on to the main practice question for today. So question reads, 15th BRICS summit declared that the grouping would welcome 6 new countries into the fold. Discuss the need for expansion along with its implication. So that is about it. Okay guys. So with this we come to an end, and we will really be seriously be looking in the matter of the voice that you are saying, and if you have faced any inconvenience for that, my heartfelt apologies for that thing. We'll rectify that particular thing. So that is all guys for today. And with this we come to an end. If you have liked the video and if it is helping you out, please do like and please do comment on it. Thank you so much.